You are tuned in to Revolution Radio, Windsor's finest variety radio station. And you can join us at St. Clair College's Mediaplex every week for comedy, culture, news, and entertainment. Enjoy some R&R with Revolution Radio. The revolution starts now.
Good morning, Windsor. You're listening to Revolution Radio. I'm your host, Hailey Trealout, here with Kelly Scheffler.
LaSalle police are investigating a targeted homicide that took place on the evening of March 3rd. 45-year-old Nancy Grewal of Windsor was stabbed on the 2400 block of Todd Lane. She was transported to hospital where she later died. LaSalle Police Chief Michael Pierce issues a statement clarifying this incident was not a random act of violence, saying, quote, Miss Grewal's murder is being investigated as an intentional act against her. Grewal was noted for her online presence, where she shared her India-Canada political views and activism. Police said the investigators are looking at all aspects of this case and that the integrity of the investigation is their top priority. No arrests have been made. Anonymous tips can be given to Crime Stoppers at 519-258-8477 or online at www.catchcrooks.com.
Hats On for Healthcare has made a comeback at Windsor Regional Hospital. The charity event was broadcasted live on March 5th on AM 800 CKLW, Virgin Radio, and 89X for a 12-hour radiothon. The goal of the event was to raise $100,000 for critical medical equipment and specialized programs that support more than 40 areas of care. In the past 16 years, Hats On for Healthcare has raised more than $700,000.
With warm weather comes warm weather pests. Recent reports are showing ticks are already active in our area. The Windsor-Essex County Health Unit performs active tick surveillance twice a year in the spring and fall in known habitats. Reports show deer ticks are already active, particularly during warmer, milder spells, like the upcoming weekend. Residents are told to perform full-body checks on yourself, children, and pets after being outside, especially in wooded areas, tall grass, or their backyard. If you find a tick, do not discard it. Save it in a sealed container with a damp paper towel and consult a healthcare provider. The year 2024 saw a record number of Lyme disease cases, showing a high risk of infected ticks in the area.
Premier Doug Ford was asked to back a request made by Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkens regarding tolls at the Ambassador Bridge. Dilkens announced he wants to see the city collecting tolls by May and continue to collect until the Gordie Howe International Bridge is open. Ford remains non-committal towards Dilkens' request for an exemption under Section 40 of the Municipal Act to let the city collect tolls, saying he's always been against tolls. He also said the best thing for Canada and the U.S. is to open the Gordie Howe International Bridge. The bridge is scheduled to open in early 2026.
Now on to weather. Here's your 3-day forecast. Today will be 9 degrees with a chance of showers in the afternoon. Saturday will be 17 degrees with morning showers and a chance of thunderstorm. Sunday will be particularly cloudy and 12 degrees. It'll be a warm start to the week before we go back to cooler temperatures. And an apology to all the parents and farmers, this is your yearly reminder that the archaic tradition of spring forward, aka daylight savings time, is on Sunday, March 8th.
The NHL trade deadline is just around the corner, and the NHL is in a frenzy. General managers across the league are looking far and wide to add to their contending teams or sell their star pieces for draft picks and future prospects. A lot of people are keeping eyes on players such as Robert Thomas and Colton Parayko for the St. Louis Blues as potential key pieces to a cup contending team. The deadline ends at 3 p.m. today, so expect some massive additions from teams looking to contend. On to local sports. This past Saturday marked another milestone in Windsor Spitfires franchise history. As the Spitfires faced the Barrie Colts, Captain Liam Greentree hit another milestone. Greentree had a goal and an assist, landing his career point total at 315, passing legendary defenseman Ryan Ellis for second in points of all time. Greentree, drafted in 2022, has enjoyed 3 straight 30-plus goal seasons with the Spits, leaving him in an opportunity to pass the legendary Ernie Godden for first in all-time goals for the Windsor Spitfires franchise, only needing 10 goals in 8 games.
Britney Spears is back in headlines this week after being arrested. The semi-retired pop singer was arrested on March 4th in Southern California by the California Highway Patrol on suspicion of driving under the influence. The 44-year-old was later released March 5th with a court date set for May 4th. Spears' representatives stated Britney is going to take the right steps to comply with the law, and hopefully this can be the first step in a long overdue change that needs to occur in her life.
Apple releases new budget MacBook. Apple announced a new MacBook model this past Wednesday. Its key feature? It's running on the same processor as an iPhone 16 Pro. The MacBook Neo will be a new budget-friendly laptop with a focus on everyday computing. The Neo is being advertised as everything you love about Mac OS for a surprising price. However, upon scrubbing through the new Hello MacBook Neo video, most of the apps showcased appear to be web-based and not natively running on the device. The Neo will feature 8 gigabytes of RAM, the iPhone 16 Pro A18 Pro chip, and either 256 or 512 gigabytes of storage, depending on the model. MacBook Neo will be available for purchase March 11th.
The revolution starts now.
The Revolution Roundtable gathered to discuss the evolution of the horror genre and how time has reshaped it.
Hello and welcome to this week's Revolution Roundtable. I'm Owen Kohut, and joining me is Zachary Balogh, Kelly Scheffler, and Hailey Trealout.
Good morning.
Today's topic is the evolution of horror movies and how they've gone from gore fest to the spooky supernatural. Kelly, would you like to start us off?
Well, I mean, I love horror movies, so I definitely have seen a fair amount. I think for me, though, a lot of it comes down more to going, is it about evolution or is it about the way that Hollywood chases trends? And I guess those could be the same thing, but I don't know. I think evolution is not always natural, but this is very unnatural because, like, you have the 80s, they started with the sex and the violence. Yeah. And then, I mean, we still get that, but you also have that it's become the trope thing since, you know.
There's a reason that's why a scary movie opens with that, right?
Exactly.
Like, you have the typical slasher formula, and it's been established since the 80s with, like, Nightmare on Elm Street and Jason and all these different series.
Absolutely.
You should also look at, though, how some horror films go off of romance films, too. Vampires were popular for so long because of Twilight.
That's very true.
Right?
Hey, that was before Twilight. Thank you very much. Plenty of us loved vampires way before they were sparkly.
1,000,000%. I am not knocking it.
One thing I like to look at when it's horror, like the evolution that I think is, think about horror films back in the 80s and 70s and look at them today. Mm-hmm. The amount of CGI. There was a reason that Texas Chainsaw, Friday the 13th, The Nightmare on Elm Street, they were all rebooted, right, to make for younger audiences. And they also depended on, especially Friday the 13th, like the originals, depended on suspense.
Like Alien. Alien has a huge, it's like an hour of preamble before you get into the action. And I'm going, I prefer 2 where they're going right in there.
Exactly. And then
give me James Cameron action, dang it.
And then when they rebooted it, action started very quickly. So that's kind of what I think when I think evolution of a horror film. You also had films that came along with what I call the church theme. So like The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And all these other different supernatural.
Kind of almost taboo.
Yeah.
And then you have the ones that are truly terrifying that follow real world what's
Human
happening
Centipede.
Now. Oh, okay.
No.
We confirmed with a doctor this was possible.
there was one that was like Human Centipede called Tusk.
Yep, Kevin Smith.
The evolution of that was hilarious. The way it went from like this thing they were talking about, and then went, well, we should make this into a movie, and then it got, it went so popular just because they were spitballing the concept, and I was like, we need to see that.
Remember, there was also a time when horror, like the slasher genre and horror films were dying, but then they got rebooted with like I Know What You Did Last Summer in the late 90s, and Scream, which still lives on today and was very good, might I add.
Well, Scream for me is that's when I think that trope era started. It was the first time like a director who was known in the genre went, okay, yeah, we do kind of do this.
Mhm.
Let's turn it on its head and make fun of it. And then that became almost the benchmark at that point, moving forward for you then had Scary Movie.
And that is where everybody fell in love with Matthew Lillard.
Oh my God, yes.
Zoinks, I totally remember him as Shaggy.
Yeah, really, that's how I remember. I think it was like Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase in that era of film.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I remember as a kid, my first introduction to horror movies was actually at a horror movie themed sleepover.
Okay.
Oh,
And
God.
That ended well.
I was not that kind of girl. And we were watching The Hills Have Eyes,
Oh, yes.
Okay.
ruined me, Jeepers Creepers,
Oh, that's a good one.
which, you know,
I'll die on that hill.
it was for a teenage girl who is not into scary movies. That was a thing. What was the one? 7 Days.
The Ring?
The Ring. That was not allowed in my house. My mom was terrified of that movie.
Well, speaking of The Ring, while the whole slasher kind of rebirth era was happening with Scream, I mean, in Japan, you had Ringu coming out, which was the basis for The Ring.
And Grudge and everything, too,
Oh,
at
yeah,
the same
100%.
time.
The 90s in Japan really kind of built the foundation for what horror would become in the early 2000s, I find, because that's when you started to get all those remakes. Like, the original Ringu is still one of my favorite horror movies in general. I own it like three different formats.
Nerd.
For some reason, hearing it's called Ringu makes it so much less threatening.
It does.
Sounds like
It
a pasta
does.
sauce.
It does.
I was thinking that. Thank you for saying it out loud.
Ringu.
But
Do you like some Ringu?
But that
Let's
reminds
be
me
honest.
also of Cabin in the Woods, which is one of my favorite horror movies because, again, you have that trope idea that was started with Scream and Scary Movie and sort of went, okay, let's even go 1 or 3 walls back, you know, and break all of those walls and just it's something even more overarching above that.
Yeah, it served as like the perfect deconstruction of the entire genre. It felt.
And I just want to say thank you to Michael Bay, who also did the Transformers, for bringing the reboots of these classic horror films alive. Like, I think he did Friday the 13th. I don't think he did A Nightmare on Elm Street, but I know he did, what's the other one with the chainsaw? Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Bringing these to whole new audiences.
No, now me, if I'm going to do a shout out, it's always going to be to Tom Savini. Love you.
I think
Daddy
it's funny,
Tom.
though, that they remade all these movies with the CGI and they tried to make it as, you know, modern as possible. Meanwhile, we prefer the classics.
Right?
I mean, I think Friday the 13th, the reboot, will stand out as my favorite film from the franchise because I just love that CGI and it just looks modern.
If you
At
could
a
get
time.
rid of one horror movie, scrape it from the face of the earth, which horror movie would it be? For me, it'd be Smile.
That I remember seeing the ads for that and it scared the Jesus out of me.
Yeah, it would definitely be Smile. I hate that movie with a burning passion.
I honestly don't think I have one. I know that like The Exorcist, when I watched that, I was terrified, and I don't think I even like bad movies because I can make fun of them.
Right? There's always something to learn from bad movies. That's the thing.
Roastable.
Exactly.
And those are the ones that you get all your catchphrases and fun
Oh, yeah.
talk conversations over, right?
Yep, you do the little Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Exact. I was just about to mention that.
I was going to say, like, Scream 6. I'm sorry, we need Neve Campbell in these films. I was the only one not to feature her. But other than that, I think horror movies stay.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening to this week's Revolution Roundtable. I've been Owen Kohut, and thank you for joining.
On this week's Rage Bait, Kelly talks about men's mental health.
I'm Kelly Scheffler, and this is Rage Bait, where I spend 2 minutes making you mad. I'd like to take a moment for a quick trigger warning for the topic of suicide. If you're experiencing suicidal thoughts, please reach out via phone or text to 988. We all live under a patriarchy, and a society that ignores men's mental health hurts everyone. So let's talk about men's mental health. The Mental Health Commission of Canada lists suicide as the second leading cause of death for men ages 15 to 39. While women are prone to attempt suicide more often than men, Stats Canada reports men are almost 3 times more likely to be successful in their attempt. Men are also far less likely to seek mental health help than women are. This highlights the need for 2 things: more access to mental health supports for everyone, but more importantly, changing how society and men themselves view men who try to address their mental health and their feelings. This includes men making themselves safe spaces for their guy friends. Studies have shown that while men and women experience similar levels of loneliness and friendship, men consistently reach out less to their support systems than women do. A study from the Canadian Men's Health Foundation found that almost 65% of men reported moderate to high stress levels, almost 25% were at risk for severe depression, and around 50% lack sufficient social support. Yet despite that, 67% of men were not reaching out for professional mental health support services. Men are also more likely to be heavy smokers and drinkers and have lifestyle issues that play into early all-cause mortality. People dislike discussing how gendered language and concepts affect how men and women view society and their place in it, but if I can leave you with one thought for this week, it would be this. Equating men expressing emotions as being weak and womanly as a way to discourage them from expressing those emotions causes men to shut off parts of themselves and encourages a negative association with women in general. After all, if you're constantly told that the worst thing you can do is be a woman, why would you respect or even like women? This has been Rage Bait, and if you're not mad, you weren't listening. Zach's back with all things weird. Take it away, Zach.
It's Friday, and that means it's time to get weird. Time for weird news. A Malaysian man is being recognized by the Guinness World Records for his mouth filled with 42 teeth, 10 more than the average person. People are usually very surprised and initially to find it hard to believe, especially when they learn that I have 10 more teeth than the average person, who typically would have 32 teeth, he said. Mwande said the dentist who examined his teeth for the Guinness World Record application gave him some surprising news. He has 2 more teeth that have yet to emerge. From Malaysia to Manatee County, it's time for Florida Man. A dispute over a rule led to a brawl during a pickleball game at a Central Florida country club, authorities said, because of course it does, with one player hitting his opponent in the face with a paddle and punching him on the ground before others got involved. A 63-year-old man was charged Sunday with 2 counts of felony battery on a person 65 or older, and his 51-year-old wife, also joined the fight in Port Orange, was charged with a single count of felony battery on a person 65 and older, according to the affidavit. The players exchanged insults, and it led to the end of the match. The man insulted his male opponent's wife, then the men exchanged words, and the 63-year-old man attacked his opponent, according to the affidavit. As many as 20 players became involved in the brawl. That's the weirdness for this week, and now it's time for your dad joke of the week. I wondered why the baseball was getting closer and closer. Then it hit me. I'm Zachary Balogh. You cannot make this stuff up.
That's it for us today, folks. Thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio, the only R&R that's less relaxing and far more informative. We hope to see you again next week. I'm Hailey Trealout.
And I'm Kelly Scheffler.
Have a safe weekend, everyone.
Thank you for joining us at Revolution Radio. This show would not be possible without our talented cast and crew. Owen Kohut, Kelly Scheffler, Natalie Reinhardt, Joseph Bedard, Zachary Balogh, Hailey Trealout, Brianna Miles, Teresa Jaworski, Otis Redding, and Tony Tavaleri. Check us out at Revolution Radio Windsor on Substack, YouTube, and TikTok.